He rips a lion apart with his bare hands like it's made of paper. No weapon, just raw, impossible strength. And the secret to his power? It's hiding in plain sight, literally growing on his head. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover the tragic story of the strongest man who ever lived, the woman who destroyed him, and the moment he brought down an entire building on thousands of people, including himself. This is the story of Samson, and it's way darker than anything you learned in Sunday school. Let's go back to the beginning. Before Samson was born, Israel was under brutal oppression by the Philistines for 40 years. His parents were ordinary people, desperate for hope. Then an angel appears to his mother with a message that changes everything. You will conceive and give birth to a son. No razor may be used on his head, because the boy is to be a Nazirite, dedicated to God from the womb. He will take the lead in delivering Israel from the hands of the Philistines. A Nazirite, that's crucial. This wasn't just a haircut preference. A Nazirite took a sacred vow with 3 main rules. Don't drink wine, don't touch dead bodies, and never, ever cut your hair. The hair was a visible sign of their dedication. It represented their strength coming not from themselves, but from God. Samson grows up, and the Spirit of the Lord begins to stir in him. But here's what you need to understand about Samson. He's not a hero. He's deeply flawed, impulsive, driven by his desires. And his weakness? Women who want to destroy him. His first mistake happens on the way to a Philistine city called Timnah. A young lion comes roaring toward him, and the Spirit of the Lord comes upon Samson in power, and he tears the lion apart with his bare hands, just rips it in half. He doesn't tell anyone. Later, he's walking past the same spot and sees something bizarre. Inside the lion's carcass, bees have made a hive. He scoops out the honey and eats it. Remember that second Nazirite rule? Don't touch dead bodies. He just broke it. And he doesn't care. Then he sees a Philistine woman. He goes home and tells his parents, "Get her from me as my wife." His parents are horrified. But Samson insists, "She's the right one for me." What they don't know is that God is actually using Samson's reckless choices to create conflict with the Philistines. At the wedding feast, Samson makes a bet with 30 Philistines. He tells them a riddle based on the lion and the honey. They can't solve it, so they threaten his new wife. "Coax your husband into explaining the riddle, or we'll burn you and your father's household to death." She cries to Samson for 7 days straight until he finally tells her. And she immediately tells the Philistines. Samson knows instantly he's been betrayed. "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle," he says. Furious, the Spirit of the Lord comes upon him. He goes to another city, strikes down 30 men, strips them, and gives their clothes to the men who solved the riddle. Then he storms off. This cycle of violence escalates. Samson ties torches to the tails of 300 foxes and burns the Philistine fields. The Philistines retaliate by burning his wife and her father to death. Samson attacks them viciously in return. Eventually, 3,000 men from his own tribe, Judah, come to arrest him. They're terrified. Samson agrees to be tied up and handed over. When the Philistines see him bound, they shout in triumph. That's when the Spirit of the Lord comes upon him again. The ropes on his arms become like charred flax. He grabs a fresh jawbone of a donkey and strikes down 1,000 men. 1 man, 1 donkey jawbone, 1,000 dead. After that, he leads Israel for 20 years. He seems invincible, but his fatal flaw is about to catch up with him. Her name is Delilah. Samson falls in love with her. The Philistine rulers go to her with an offer. "Lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength, and we will each give you 1,100 shekels of silver." She agrees immediately. 3 times, Delilah asks Samson for his secret, and 3 times he lies. Each time she tries to subdue him, and each time he breaks free. Finally, she plays her last card. How can you say, I love you, when you won't confide in me? She nags him day after day until he's sick to death of it. And then he tells her everything. No razor has ever been used on my head. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as any other man. Delilah lulls Samson to sleep on her lap and calls in a man to shave off the 7 braids of his hair. Then she calls, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. He wakes up and thinks, I'll go out as before and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. He didn't know. The moment his vow was broken, God's presence departed. The Philistines seize him. They gouge out his eyes. They bind him with bronze shackles and set him to grinding grain in a prison. The strongest man who ever lived, reduced to doing the work of an ox, blind, humiliated, broken. But the text says something critical. The hair on his head began to grow again. Time passes. The Philistines gather for a great sacrifice. 3,000 men and women are on the roof of the temple, celebrating. They call for Samson to be brought out to entertain them. They position him between the 2 central pillars that hold up the temple. He says to the servant, Put me where I can feel the pillars. Then he prays a raw, desperate prayer. Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. He braces himself against the 2 central pillars, one with his right hand, one with his left. Let me die with the Philistines. Then he pushes with all his might. The temple collapses. He killed more people in his death than he did in his entire life. So what's the lesson? Samson had everything. Divine calling, supernatural strength, a mission from God. But he squandered it because he couldn't control his desires. His hair wasn't magic. It was a symbol of his covenant with God. But even after he failed spectacularly, God still answered his final prayer. That's grace. No matter how far you fall, God can still use your final act of faith. If this story hit you differently than you expected, hit that subscribe button. And comment below, do you think Samson was a hero or a cautionary tale? Let's discuss.